The marriage of my mother and father brought together two very different traditions. One English and Puritan, one Gaelic, Catholic and peasant. Both were freedom-loving. These two traditions worked in me and fused together to make me the strange thing that I am. Father was born in Birmingham, a stone sculptor, and he was probably an atheist. He came to Ireland during a boom in church building in the late 1800s. My mother, in contrast, came from a small farm in County Meath, and she could speak Irish. She was a pious woman and devoted to her family, and I was particularly close to her. I had two sisters, one older and one younger, and one brother, Willie. My closest friend was my brother, Willie. I was shy in the company of women, and I never married. At the Christian Brothers School in Westland Row, I was inspired by a teacher, Brother Mounsell. He was a native Irish speaker. I then developed a great interest in the Irish language and in Gaelic culture. At 16, I joined the Gaelic League. This organisation was founded by Professor Owen McNeill and Dr. Douglas Hyde. It was devoted to the preservation and revival of Irish as a spoken language. My motto became Tirgan Changa, Tirgan Anam. A country without language is a country without a soul. I loved the Gaelic League, and very soon I was elected to the executive committee. The Gaelic League became my social circle. I graduated with a BA from UCD and a law degree from Trinity, and was called to the bar, but I didn't practice. I was more interested in education. To improve my fluency in the Irish language, I spent time in the west of Ireland. I came to love Connemara and acquired a cottage in Rossmuck. I felt that education should be an adventure in which the pupil's imagination was stimulated and true Irish cultural traditions taught. So, I established an Irish-speaking school for boys in Ranelagh, where classes were taught in Irish and English, but the Irish language and culture were at the heart of the school. The school was a great success, 70 pupils in the first year. And when I was searching for a bigger premises, I discovered a large house with 50 acres of land, known as the Hermitage in Rathfarnham. The Hermitage was where Robert Emmet courted his sweetheart, Sarah Curran, who lived close by. After the failed rebellion of 1803, he came out of hiding to meet Sarah there, but an informer ruined this meeting. Emmet was arrested, hanged, and beheaded on a butcher's block for his part in the rebellion. When I heard this story, I felt students would be inspired by the property's connection with Emmet's heroic history. So I acquired the property, and we moved the school there and renamed it St. Enda's. It became our family home too. All my family helped in the running of the school. The atmosphere was completely uninstitutional. Shortly after the move to the Hermitage, I began reading the works of Wolfe Tone, Robert Emmet, and John Mitchell, and this greatly influenced my nationalist thinking. In 1912, I supported John Redmond and his agitation for Home Rule for Ireland. This was promised by the British Prime Minister, Herbert Asquith. I warned if it was not forthcoming, there would be war in Ireland. Asquith reneged on his promise, using World War I as the reason. I was furious. I then joined the Irish Volunteers and then the secret organisation, the IRB, which was dedicated to the overthrow of British rule in Ireland and its replacement with an Irish Republic. I deemed it my duty as an Irishman to fight for the freedom of my country. I became convinced that the blood of martyrs would be required to liberate Ireland from Britain. I remember thinking, one man can free a people, as one man redeemed the world. By early 1915, I was deeply involved in planning our rebellion. With radical members of IRB, preparations were made for a rebellion to take place on Easter Sunday, 1916. But not everyone in the Republican movement approved of a rebellion, not least McNeill. These men believed an uprising should only occur if there was a strong possibility of success, or if the volunteers were attacked first. So, McNeill was kept in the dark, and only learned of the plans on Holy Thursday. He reluctantly decided to go along. However, when the German ship carrying a consignment of 20,000 rifles and machine guns and over 1 million rounds of ammunition sunk off the Kerry coast, he issued a countermanding order calling off all manoeuvres for Easter Sunday. We were not to be stopped. With numbers reduced to about 1,000 men, I decided we would still march out the next day and seize control of important buildings in Dublin. At noon on Easter Monday, April 24th, 1916, I stood in front of the GPO and read the Irish Declaration of Independence, which I had written. The armed revolt against English rule in Ireland began. It continued for 5 days, but when to prevent further bloodshed and save the lives of civilians, I gave orders to surrender. I was arrested, court-martialed, and sentenced to be buried in quicklime. No coffin. 15 more followed.
The British General Charles Blackadder, who presided over Padraig Pearse's court-martial, said, "I have done one of the hardest tasks of my life. To condemn to death one of the finest characters I have ever come across. There must be something very wrong in the state of things that makes a man like that a rebel. I don't wonder that his pupils adored him."